Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Higurashi Winter Kai Chapter 8. You guys ready to continue this little jigsaw puzzle piece that we're going through, called Connecting Fragments? I sure am. I'm still having fun with it. But, as much fun as I am having connecting all these pieces together, I really want to see what our game board is going to look like once we get our things set up, so let's hurry along, shall we? This one's jumping out at me. Distrust of a mother queen. Distrust of the mother of a queen, excuse me. Rica has developed a high fever. Okay, right off the bat, I know another thing I can use. The fever, I mean. A very high fever. It's not flu season, nor season for any type of contagious disease. I can only think of the suspicious experiments Rica has gone through. Maybe the fever is being caused by those. Her growth is rather slow compared to other children her age. Receiving mysterious shots and going through experiments every week, I'm sure her body's exhausted. I've asked the staff to go easy on her, but Rica herself is fearless and is willing to go through anything. My husband, who should be admonishing her for that, truly believes their story that it's crucial to the lives of over 2,000 villagers, and takes our own daughter to that clinic every week. I'm the only one who's sincerely worried about her health. That's why I want to ask Dr. Irie to be a little more considerate towards Rica. Anyway, I have to talk to them about taking responsibility for this. Right after I called, a staff member came to pick Rica up to admit her to the clinic. As her guardian, I came with them.
落ち着いてください、お母さん。必ず救いますから。もうしばらくお待ちになってください。
これが落ち着けるかというんです。急にこんな高熱が出るなんておかしいじゃないですか。これも先週にやったというなんとかという怪しげな実験の影響じゃないんですか。リカはね、年相応の小さな女の子なんですよ。リカは友達思いだから病気にかかった友達のためにと。
分かっております。それに私たちの研究が間違ってもリカさんに悪い影響を及ぼすようなことはありえませんし、万一にもそのようなことが起こらないよう常に注意をしています。
だったらこのリカの熱は一体どういうことなんですか。
おそらくは季節の変わり目ですので。
風邪なわけないでしょ。あなたたちが妙な薬を注射したからに決まっています。
Dr. Irie only told me to calm down and refuse to accept responsibility. My husband told me this was all for the sake of the village, and that's why I've held back my doubts until now. But I'm at my limit. Their existence has been suspicious from the beginning. They're conducting their research in secret, using a privacy policy as an excuse. That was shitty enough on its own. It's just impossible. In fact, I called the Ministry of Health and was told that wasn't true at all. Even after I told them I'm Rica Furude's mother. The clinic even came up with stupid excuses, saying normal workers often don't know of a special institute like theirs. That doesn't make sense at all. It's much too suspicious. Also, there are people who don't appear to be researchers working at the institute. They look like security guards, but they seem so different from normal guards at a normal hospital. In fact, one time I accidentally saw that they were armed with guns.
それはですね。
あの人たちは警察なんですか。とてもそうには見えません。だいたいあなた方は何者なんですか。厚生省の人間だなんて私は今更信じませんよ。
Dr. Irie seems taken aback by my intensity. It can't even answer properly. They're still hiding a lot more from us. That tells me the research they're working on with Rica isn't anything proper.
とにかく私はリカの保護者です。リカはまだまだ子供です。あの子が何をどう返事しようとも今後は一切研究を手伝わせるつもりはありません。
あらあら、
Killjoy?
リカちゃんのお母さんではありませんの。どうもこんにちは。あら、どうかなさいまして？
いえ、お母さんがリカさんをこれ以上研究に関わらせたくないとおっしゃってまして。
それはどうしてですか？
うちの子はあなたたちの実験動物ではないからです。
そう扱ったことなどございませんわよ。それは大きな誤解ですわ。
Funny thing is, in a lot of ways, I don't really. I think she's actually her suspicions on you is actually quite accurate, given your true intentions. I'm a little startled. Dr. Irie is a weak person who backs down under pressure. Takano-san is different. I'm yelling at her, but she's not afraid at all. On the contrary, she's glaring daggers and looks as if she's about to jump on me.
リカちゃんの熱は風によるものですわ。私たちのせいだなんてとんでもない。私たちは安全や衛生には国立研究所クラスの注意を払ってます。失礼ですが、アルコール消毒もしない手でリカちゃんの手を引いて歩いているあなたより衛生的なくらいですわよ。
Shots fired! Shots fired!
そんなことは聞いていません。とにかくリカはあなたたちのおもちゃじゃないんです。リカはもう二度とここへは連れてきません。
あなたの一存で決められては困りますわね。
Well, there's that scary expression again.
ご協力をいただくことについて、ご両親には契約書にサインをしてもらっているはずではございませんの。研究に協力していただく見返りに、決して少なくない額を毎月お口座に振り込ませていただいているはずですわ。
そんなお金私は知りませんよ。聞いたこともないです。
Rica receiving money for participating in their research really is news to me. Knowing my husband's character, he wouldn't have used it as spending money behind my back. I bet he thought of it as a free service for the villagers, and completely forgot about the money being deposited into our account. There haven't been any strange deposits in the regular account, so it may be in our savings. Anyway, I don't care about that.
契約を保護にされる場合には、それまでの振込額をすべて返還していただくことになっているのはご存知ですわね。他にも一方的な保護についてそちらに非がある場合。
高野さん、落ち着いてください。お母さんもどうか。ひなみ沢症候群は以前にもご説明させていただきましたように、これからも村人たちが安心して生活していくために絶対に治療していかなくてはならないものなのです。そのためにはどうしてもリカさんのご協力が必要なのです。
治療のためって、じゃあその治療薬はいつになったら出来上がるんですか？だいたいおかしいじゃないですか。リカの友達のさとこちゃんのためということでしたけど、そのさとこちゃんはもう退院して元気に生活しているというじゃありませんか。確か先々週にうちの人が話を聞いた時にも、もう治療のめどは立ったというようなお話をされていたはずですわよね。
ええ、めどはついたというような話はしたと思います。ですが、ひなみ沢症候群の全貌を解明するためには。
全貌の解明なんか最初の話で聞いていません。リカが協力するのは村人の病気を治療するためのはずです。ならもう十分ではありませんの。皆さんがリカに怪しげな研究やら検査やらをしているのはあなた方の興味本位であって、治療とは何の関係もないんじゃありませんの。
そんなことはありません。とにかくリカさんの風邪の件は誤解なんです。 もしどうしてもご不審ということでしたら。
とにかくもうお金の話もあるみたいなので、私も帰って夫と相談しますから。それでは失礼します。
They were just too shitty from the very start. Because of their exaggerated story, Rica and my husband took their side, but it won't work on me. Anyhow, I must sell things with them right away, because Rica isn't their toy. I especially don't trust that woman called Takano. Dr. Irie seems to me like he's still a doctor, but she doesn't. How can I describe her? Evil? I guess I can say the glow in her eyes is just unpleasant. She only sees Rica as a guinea pig. I can feel cruelty emanating from her. Neither my husband nor Rica have noticed that. I must protect her. As a mother, I must protect Rica!
高野さんらしくもない。
You know, I think I'm starting to get an idea as to why Rica's parents were killed. What if, Rica's mother managed to convince Rica's father to his side, to her point of view on this whole matter, and they both ended up trying to take Rica out of the research. Once they began to suspect that this research could have ended up putting Rica in danger. So in order to stop that, Takano arranged to have Rica's parents killed, so the research can continue. Especially so she would be placed in charge of. She would be placed in the care of people here who would be more lenient towards what's going on in this clinic, like maybe Mayor Kimiyoshi, for example. Either way, if I'm wrong about that last part, I certainly don't think I'm. I certainly think I'm probably onto something here with the reasons why her parents were killed, at least, if nothing else. Anyway, let's get back to this.
あそこで喧嘩を買ってしまったら余計に話がこじれてしまうではありませんか。あなたらしくもないですよ。
そうですわね。
What a huffy little expression she's got on her face right now.
ごめんなさい。取り乱してしまって。
Did something happen to put her in a bad mood? Irie wondered. Well, considering her life's goal right now is to basically prove the merits of Granddaddy's research, putting a stop to that prematurely, well, seriously, do the math. The heated conversation she just had didn't involve the Takano he knew. That's probably what I'm going to end up learning this episode. I'm seriously willing to bet it. I'm going to learn exactly what caused Rica's parents to die. And this fragment I just saw is part 1 of that. See if I'm right. The third sacrifice. Sure enough. The situation has changed. Rica's father suddenly changed his mind about having her help out the research. Yep, looks like I'm calling it. I've called it. When Rica came down with a high fever the other day, her mother, who wasn't happy about her daughter helping in the first place, finally blew up. I was hoping the father would convince her somehow. But now, he seems to be on her side. Rica's father didn't get emotional like her mother, but he demanded that we make our research plans for Rica clear, and that we finish our research within 3 months at most, which was completely unrealistic. Research can't have a deadline. That's out of the question. We cultivate results by grinding down our knowledge, skills, and time. To take time away from us is like taking away what's vital to live. How could he say such a thing? Curses, 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 curses! Rica's parents are only saying that because they don't know anything about scientific research. However, as they are the parents of the Queen Carrier, we are completely lost about what to do. Tests and experiments on the Queen Carrier are an essential part of our research into Hinamizawa syndrome. Her existence is a focal point of our work. To lose her would be like losing your sense of direction out in open water. Rica is providing her cooperation for our research, but the withdrawal of her guardian's consent could be a setback. The situation is extremely dire. Rica's parents are only interested in finding a cure. But to me, the cure is only a small part of solving the mystery. I can't let her go. Are our differences causing this predicament? And it's not only them. The same is happening between Irie and me. He thinks it's inevitable that we'd need to stop the research if Rica's parents refuse to consent. That's understandable. From the beginning, Irie never had the determination to solve the mysteries of Hinamizawa syndrome. He won't back down from the research assertively, but he will passively by agreeing with Rica's parents. Is that the attitude of a researcher who's trying to unravel mysteries? He's the type of man who would step on my grandfather's research with his dirty feet! He is nothing but a coward who is in this half-heartedly. He started to feel guilty over his past the moment he saw blood. He isn't qualified to even be involved in researching Hinamizawa syndrome. He's simply an outsider who joined in because of the client's demands. If I were a man, he wouldn't be here in the first place. While it's true he produced wonderful results with his development of a cure, he seems to think it's alright to close up shop with that. Is he planning to waste everything by being satisfied with just that tiny result? That man doesn't have any right to discard my grandfather's research. I can feel my guts boiling. No. Irie isn't the main person at fault. The one to blame here is that woman, Rica's mother. If she wasn't so selfish, this wouldn't have happened. This coming from the lady who's planning to genocide an entire village here just for the sake of getting her grandfather's research recognized. I think there'd be a lot of people who would disagree with you on who's the selfish one here. Maybe it's partly my fault. I maintained trust through relationships and obligations all this time. But somehow, Rica's mother and I didn't get along, so I didn't try to socialize with her. I thought it was fine because I got along with Rica and her father. But now, the mother has influenced the father and changed his decision. What negligence! What a reversal! What a blunder! Irie is saying we should talk to the office in Tokyo about what to do next. But I know once the Tokyo office finds out about this, they'll order us to shut the research down. I've worked so hard to even get the thing started. If they hear anything negative, they'll put a stop to it. I've come too far to complete my grandfather's research. I can't let it be stopped. I still have a little time to think about this. I need to calm down and analyze this carefully. I've always come up with a great plan when I drink my favorite tea and bite my nails like this. I looked up at the ceiling and closed my eyes. As tenderly as possible. There were times where I couldn't find a solution, but someone else came up with a simple one. I've been able to overcome everything that's been thrown at me. I even endured the hell at that orphanage. so I'll never let that woman get in the way. Settle your thoughts down. Think about this clearly. Be calm, Mio Takano. Hey, you tell yourself this like Keiichi. Someone else may come up with a better idea. But who? It's not me. It can't be Irie. Of course, nobody from the village will do. Do I talk to someone in Tokyo? I think I see where this is going. She's gonna talk to Okanogi. No, I can't. I don't want to owe anyone a favor. Even Koizumi-sensei would be disgusted if he finds out I can't solve such a simple matter by myself. Ah, I know. There's someone I can talk to nearby. They're supposed to be my subordinates after all, so it's worth a try. I called the leader of the mountain dogs, Okanogi. Called it. The mountain dogs are my subordinates, but they're part of the self-defense force, and I'm just a researcher. So we never really had a chance to interact. He did what he was supposed to, and I did what I was supposed to. So, I never even thought of discussing anything with him. But the mountain dogs are there to protect and support our research. Why didn't I think of talking to him before?
Sora, 難儀な子ですな。
He used to speak standard Japanese, but now he has the Hinamizawa accent. I guess fitting into the region is the first thing they need to do.
このままだと女王感染者の協力が受けられなくなるばかりか、騒ぎ立てる母親によって研究所の所在が暴かれる危険性もある。山犬で何か手は打てる？
I asked Okanogi rather directly. I'm not really expecting an answer, but...
了解しました。山犬で対応します。お時間をいただければきれいにやりますよ。
対応？
警察沙汰にならんようにしますんで、少々の準備は必要ですが。難しい仕事じゃありませんね。
I'm startled. Rica's mother is my enemy, but I was thinking about how I could convince her. But the leader of the mountain dogs, the counterintelligence unit whose duty is to protect this secret research, came up with a much simpler plan.
それは殺すということ？
入江機関の機密保持にあたっては最悪の場合、それも持参ちゅう話のはずですが、もちろんご命令があって初めて実行することですが。
Right. This is a very simple problem to him. Rica's mother has started to interfere with our research. Not only that, there's a chance she might talk to people about the Institute. So they will eliminate her.
それは確かにうまい手ね。うまくやれるの？
そのために来ている我々ですね。大臣の孫の誘拐以来、久々の大仕事になりますわ。
We got confession. These guys were the ones who kidnapped the boy. And if memory serves, or an order to kidnap the minister's grandson is one of the pieces I need to connect in our fragment somewhere. I remember now. The mountain dogs are the ones who kidnapped the grandson of the Minister of Construction and used that to blackmail him. It's been a few years, so I completely forgot about that. They did such a marvelous job back then. That's right, that's right, that's right. I had the mountain dogs on my side.
実行はすぐにでも可能？
ただ殺すだけなら今夜にでも。ただ、それでは騒ぎが大きくなりますんで、そのための時間さえもらえれば。
just like a cat's eyes under a bright light. I can feel something in the back of my eyes open up. Up until now, I've been racking my brain trying to figure out how to make her my ally, or at least make her surrender, or pacify her. Yet, one order to this man, and the problem's easily solved. I feel like a bird taking its first flight. How easily I can get rid of that annoying mother. All I have to do is give an order. I feel grateful to Koizumi-sensei for giving me such terrific subordinates. What a wonderful power he has given me. I was taught that all people are equal. But if I have the power to control people's lives, then that means I'm more important than they are. What a feeling it is to be above others.
消すのはフルでリカの母親だけでいいですね。
え？あ、いや、ちょっと待って。
Does he mean only Rica Furudi's mother? Day. I can feel chills all over my body. I'm just trying to remember the correct proper pronunciation for the name. If possible, maybe I should have her father disappear too. Rica is willing to help. She has no other relatives in the Furude family. If both parents die, she has to depend on someone. The Irie Institute can support her. We can give her status, money, and protection. We can give her everything. By doing so, maybe it's possible to make her one of us, rather than just having her as a helper. All my worries are melting away. Everything I was just concerned about seems like a joke now. I had such powerful subordinates all this time, yet I never realized. All of my tension is being released, and I'm starting to feel relaxed. I can feel myself regaining my cool head. I'm going to get rid of them. Rica's parents, that is. The Queen Carrier is my guinea pig. A guinea pig doesn't need parents. That's right. It's almost time for the Watanagashi Festival. If they die on that day, people will call it the curse of Oyashiro-sama. That murder case from 2 years ago and the accident from last year are two separate incidents. Yet, because they happened on the day of Watanagashi, they're being called the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Then, if her parents' deaths occur on this year's Watanagashi, it'll be Oyashiro-sama's curse 3 years in a row. The miracle of Oyashiro-sama. Also, the curse. I'm going to create them. This is a chance for me to ascend to godhood and toy with human fate. The incidents that occurred 2 years in a row are said to be a curse, but not everyone believes that. However, if it happens 3 years in a row, then everyone has to believe. Because that'll be the true curse that's created by me. I'll become Oyashiro-sama. My desire for revenge against God is coming together.
ただ消すだけではなんだか面白みがないと思わない？
When I started to laugh, Okunogi grinned to show his interest.
私たちの手でお社様のたたりを作ってみるの。
I can't just let her die. She'll be demoned away, and I'm going to enjoy dissecting her alive. Of course, I won't just have fun. This will be extremely useful for our research. After all, she's the previous Queen Carrier. So this is how it all started. The curse. The last two incidents that happened before, they were actually just coincidence after all. But from the third year onward, that's when it became intentional. So that would then mean that the damn foreman's death was definitely accidental. There was in every single sense. Like, there's no doubt about that anymore. And then there's Satoko's parents, which was year number 2. Also accidental, but... But now it makes me think. Now that we know from the third year onward that everything was very much intentional and created by Takano, how exactly did she create the circumstances leading up to the 4th year, Satoshi's disappearance, and the death of his aunt? Although, now that I think about it, it probably isn't too hard to guess. She probably got involved directly with Satoshi at some point, and much like she did with Shion, and much like she did with Shion and Reina in the previous 2 chapters, she fed them select amounts of information that would that would end up sparking what would be needed for their infections to get triggered. And from there, it's just a matter of letting everything snowball right to where she wants it to. Thus allowing the curse to continue for the next 2 years after the first one, with Rica's parents. Interesting. But yeah, all this time I thought that that at the very least, from the second one onward, everything was definitely intentional, and very intentionally done by Takano and the Mountain Dogs. But I guess I was wrong on that too. A red capsule. I could probably do this one too, but I'm gonna look around a little more first, because I'm certain there was another one. Okay, there's this one I can definitely do. I think I could do this one as well. Okay, you know what? Let me move on to the mysterious death of the Furude couple. Deep down, I was prepared for something to happen tonight, once again. The first year, the workers were stirred into a frenzy, killing and dismembering the old man. And the second year, the Hojo couple were killed through a fake accident. Since the damn protests, only people who have been hated by the villagers died on the day of Watanagashi. Some people in the village were calling the incidents the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Now that the damn protests are over, there would be no meaning in the villagers' enemies being killed on the night of the festival, I thought. If that was true, then there were still some enemies left over. I thought that perhaps that would happen again on the night of the festival, 3 years in a row. My hunch was right. At first, however, it looked so natural I didn't think anything of it. The festival was nearing its end, and the village officials were gathered under the main tent. They opened their beers and enjoyed the leftover corn and braised cow tripe from the refreshment stands. I was in the main tent too, being entertained by the villagers. So I was actually there at the scene of the third year's incident when it happened. Yet I didn't notice anything at the beginning.
あれウルテさんどうしたよ気分悪いのかい
Most of the older folks in the village were heavy drinkers, but a few were lightweights too. The priest was one of the latter. The priest was a representative as well as a host during the Watagashi festival. So every time villagers and visitors and guests arrived, he greeted them, and each time he was offered a drink. So by the night's end, he was pretty worn out. That's why I didn't think anything of it to see the priest sitting by himself in a folding chair. The mayor, Kimiyoshi, was the one to tap his shoulder and ask him if he was alright.
大丈夫飲みすぎだよきっと何胸が苦しいの
すみませんちょっと疲れたようです
Somebody spiked your drink with something poisonous, I assume.
あれあんた心臓やってたっけ急に痛くなるのは良くない兆しだよ
Either way, well, even if that's not how it was done, someone tells me he's definitely been poisoned.
入江先生先生
どうしましたか胸ですかそれは良くないですね
When I saw what was going on, I noticed he was covered in a terrible sweat and was definitely not relaxing in his chair and enjoying the cool evening breeze. His face had a sickly pallor, and I thought he should lie down immediately.
ちょっと診療所にお連れした方がいいかもしれません大丈夫ですか私の肩につかまれますか
おいおい誰か手伝ってやれ神主さん調子が悪いらしいぞ
うちの人どうかしたんですかあなた大丈夫
高野さんちょうど良いところに神主さんの具合が悪いようなので診療所に連れて行きますすみませんが境内の下に車を回してもらってもよろしいですか
ええお安いご用ですわよ
So the priest and his wife head to the clinic with Dr. Irie. I don't know about young people, but the elderly know their own bodies well. They almost never push themselves to the point where they start feeling ill. Especially someone like the priest. It was hard to imagine him drinking himself sick. The cumulative experience of my years was telling me something. I headed to the Irie clinic just in case. I tried to follow their car, but because the festival was almost over and all the stands were closing up, there was a lot of traffic going in and out, making it impossible for me to leave the temporary parking lot. More than 20 minutes had passed since the priest was carried in by the time I arrived at the clinic. 20 minutes. If it hadn't taken me 20 minutes, my involvement in this year's incident would have been quite different. I regretted not leaving on foot the moment I realized how hard it was to get my car out. All I get to do now is jot down the facts. Because between the time the priest left the festival and the time I arrived at the clinic, during those 20 minutes, this year's curse had taken place. The priest's condition changed for the worse right after he arrived at the clinic. He died. The autopsy results say it was heart failure, but how can I accept that? I don't think the priest was having health problems, and everyone was taken by surprise by this sudden event. Moreover, the wife of the priest disappeared too. According to the clinic staff, she was with him right after he died, but she's nowhere to be seen now. Of course, she's not at home either. Maybe someone poisoned the priest. During the dam conflict, the priest was frowned upon for his remarks. He said there was no need to make a big fuss because the dam project would be cancelled anyway. The older villagers liked to hold grudges and hadn't forgotten that, so even I had heard word of them talking about how the priest wasn't fit for the shrine to Oyashiro-sama. I called for backup and had them go search for the missing wife. With last year's falling couple incident as precedent, it was easy to believe both wife and husband could become victims. The village's youth group got organized and searched from the village to the mountains, and as a result, we found a set of sandals and a will by the edge of the Onikafuji swamp. The will said something about how her husband's death was the curse of Oyashiro-sama, and she was throwing herself in the swamp to calm the god's anger. In other words, she committed suicide by jumping into the swamp. Legends say that the swamp is bottomless and is connected directly to hell. Once you sink, you never come back. Divers from the police department searched the swamp, but her body was nowhere to be found. The past two mysterious incidents were solved individually, just as the higher-ups say, but something is odd about this year's mysterious death. The ill priest was carried to the clinic. His wife accompanied him. Within 20 minutes, the priest died of heart failure, and the wife either committed suicide or disappeared. The death of the priest may have really been a fatal heart attack. But for his wife to assume that it was the curse, and to commit suicide by jumping into the swamp, for all that to happen in 20 minutes just doesn't seem natural. The Furude family has no relatives. Even if she was a true believer in Oyashiro-sama, how could she commit suicide while leaving her one and only daughter? Irie is hiding something too. But he's just a village doctor, which means he's nothing more than their pawn. If this is all a conspiracy to assassinate the priest, then there is someone who's pulling the strings. I've been starting to think that trying to tie the past two incidents to the village so forcefully was a bit overbearing of me, but this incident was enough to convince me that this series of cases involving mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa were all grounded in one intention. This incident has countless numbers of discrepancies, but someone from the village seems to be putting pressure on high command. And just like the past incidents, this one will be treated as an individual case and end up being forgotten. Since it happened 3 years in a row, everyone in the village will say it's the curse of Oyashiro-sama. I think that's the culprit's goal. After the war, belief in Oyashiro-sama became antiquated. Is someone committing these murders as a ritual to restore that god's dignity? Not quite. It's more so to create a god's dignity, in a sense. The one pulling the strings must be the Sonozaki family. A few months passed. Oryu Sonozaki said something like, it was natural for that priest to be cursed by Oyashiro-sama, and so the priest's case was lumped together with the mysterious Hinamizawa deaths, otherwise known as Oyashiro-sama's curse. At first, I simply wanted to avenge the old man. But now that the case had grown into an abnormal one, centered on the village's faith. Damn it! The old man's killer is human. I won't let it be pushed off onto some nonsense curse. I still feel bad for Ryushi because he is 100% correct on some things, but completely incorrect on others. Like, his intuition on a lot of this stuff really isn't wrong at all. But he's just coming to the wrong conclusions on some really important aspects to his investigation. If he knew more, then yeah, he'd be damn effective at solving the actual nature of the case. let's move on to a red capsule. The strange medicine that I can hardly remember was a capsule. Or maybe it was an oval tablet. It was so red. It must have been a capsule. I can't imagine a tablet in that color. It must have been a capsule. I think it was a little bigger than a normal one. I think. I can't remember. Although I can hardly remember, if I see that medicine again, it will refresh my memory. That medicine strips away humanity. It takes away human soul, memory, emotion, and it numbs the human body. There are no thoughts, no interests, no will to stay awake or sleep. Sounds like my exact nightmare kind of medication. There's no sense of time. Sometimes a second can feel like an eternity, and other times I can almost see the hour hand move. Either way, there's no emotion involved. I can't feel any emotion. The medicine only lets me stay in bed and look up at the ceiling. Only the people who have taken it can understand this misery. What's more scary is that, while I'm on the medication, I don't realize how scary it is. I'm given the medication daily, and I keep losing all my senses. So, when the medicine wore off by accident, I realized I should never take it again. That's right. This isn't medicine that will heal me. It's just going to kill me slowly. If I continue to take this medicine, I probably wouldn't be able to tell if I was dead or alive, and I would end up losing myself forever. I'll keep looking up at the ceiling without any emotions and keep watching the clock tick forever. If I take the medicine again, I'll lose all the senses I finally regained. I may never be able to bring myself back again. Since the day I realized that, I've been pretending to take the medicine, but throwing it away instead. Who are you? If your doctor prescribes medication, you have to finish taking it, even if your symptoms are gone. I can hear my mother's voice. Anytime I went to the doctor's office when I was a child, my mother said that to me. I usually got well before I finished all the medicine, so I didn't finish taking the rest. That's why my mother said that. But this is a different type of medicine. I don't even remember how old I was when my mother said that, but with this strange capsule in front of me, I have to try and get rid of my mother's voice from inside of my head. I pressed down on my head with my elbows until it hurt, trying to get rid of what my mother kept telling me. Right. As my head clears, I start to remember the ugly side of my mother. My mother betrayed her family. Reina? Oh, this must have been right after her infection with Hinazawa syndrome, and they put her on medication in order to bring her under control. She betrayed me and my father, who waited for her at home with dinner on the table. She told us that she was busy with work, but she was having an affair. That was bad enough, but she asked my father for a divorce after he took such good care of her for so many years. But there's something else I can't forgive her for. She invited only me to meet with her new family. Not my father, just me. My father and I are family. Family means being together. Yet my own mother tried to destroy the bond between my father and me. Not only had she destroyed her bond with him, she tried to destroy my bond with him too. When I remember, it makes me feel angry and hateful, and I can't forgive her. The back of my eyes start to hurt, and I could feel the hatred on my face. That overflowing animosity is aimed not only at my mother, but also the man she had an affair with. The man she had an affair with. Uncle Akihito. I didn't like him teasing me, but he gave me an allowance and tried to have fun with me. I liked him very much, but his niceness was all calculated. He wanted to destroy the family bonds between my mother, my father, and me. That's why I shouldn't have said I liked him very much. That's right. I'm starting to remember and understand. Now I know my true enemy. It was his fault that my mother started to have an affair. I'm sorry, Reina, but it takes two to tango in a relationship. Because my mother was a very good mother. He was the one who made her a bad one. So he's the one who deserves the blame. I repeat, it takes two to tango. When was the first time I met him? I think it was the time when my mother and I went out and had lunch at a restaurant. She introduced him as one of her colleagues from work. At that time, if I think about that first meeting, I think I felt something wasn't right with the way my mother acted around him. That's right, I did. I did think something was wrong. It didn't feel right. I wish I'd trusted my instincts then. I was a fool to think he was a nice person just because he gave me a strawberry from his piece of cake. It was not my father's fault, because I bet he never met Uncle Akihito. But I have. I've met him many times, and there were a lot of chances to realize he was my enemy. If I had a strong enough will to protect my happiness, I could have noticed that. I can't forget how my father looked on that day. My father, who was so nice and gentle, grabbed his knees so tightly and cried so hard. He asked me if I knew Uncle Akihito. I answered yes. Then he slapped me in the face. When he slapped me, I finally realized how stupid I was for being taken in by him. That's right. It was my fault. I destroyed the happiness I'd hoped to last forever with my own hands. If I hadn't been that stupid, my father wouldn't have had to cry like that. My mother would have stayed good. If I wasn't that stupid, it was my fault. I can't forgive my mother and Uncle Akihito. Even when I hate him this much, I still call him Uncle, and I can't forgive myself for that. It was my fault. Everything was my fault. I was too stupid and foolish, and that's why this happened. I hate her. I'm sad. I'm frustrated. I can't stop being angry. If my mother ever came back to this house, I would rip her apart with my hands. But she never came back. My anger turned towards everything that my mother left in the house. I destroyed every relic my mother left behind, one after another. I threw and smashed everything. But that still didn't calm me down. Even after I turned the whole house upside down, I still couldn't calm my anger. Where does my anger gather? It starts from inside of me, goes through my arms, to my fingertips, and spurts from my nails. Where else can it go? So my nails aim at my own body. My body is the filthiest and most disgusting thing of all. I am the one to be blamed. No, I'm not to blame. My mother's most at fault. My mother's the most corrupt. My body and soul feel filthy. I wanted to stain myself black and slice the remaining flesh into pieces. And one day, I finally realized there are tons of maggots in my blood. I am rotten. I am rotten from the inside. Come on, rot more. But it is indescribably itchy. It's itchy, 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 itchy. I stabbed my thigh with a razor blade in the bathroom. Blood flowed out. Fresh black maggots spilled out. I forced myself to open my blood vessels with my thumbs. The maggots spilled out. Squirm, 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 squirm. So many maggots spilled out from my left thigh. There are probably just as many in my right thigh. Maybe my calves too. My arms, abdomen, chest. No. How many maggots are there in my blood vessels in my neck? Strangely, although I've become rather insane, there's still a part of me that is calm. If I keep ripping myself apart like this, I'll end up dead. But everything is my fault, and I'm the one to be blamed. Even if I blame my mother, the only way I can disgrace her is with my own body. I get it now. That's the best means for quelling my anger. I feel like I'm thinking incredibly rationally now. That feeling of yours is incredibly wrong. In order to forgive myself, I need someone else to blame. It has to be someone else's fault. But no such person exists. No matter how much I think about it, or how I twist the logic, my own body is my only outlet to vent this anger. So as long as there's no one else to blame, I'll be forced to rip open every blood vessel in my body. Just like no matter how much I scratch, it still itches. No matter how much I rip apart my own body, it's not enough. The blood is all over the bathroom. I'm sure it makes for quite a gruesome scene. Although I'm trying to stay calm, I can't ignore the sharp pain that runs through my body. Maybe because I've lost so much blood, or maybe because I'm naked in the bathroom, I feel freezing cold. My whole body is throbbing, and my heart is beating so fast. I'm cold and hot at the same time, and I'm also sad, angry, and in pain. I want to find something that lets me forgive myself. Then, it came. Hanyu? It came in a heavenly light. It was mysterious and unreal, like something out of this world. It apologized. It kept apologizing. Why is it apologizing? You apologize when you're at fault. So this thing I just met for the first time was admitting to wronging me. That means I'm not at fault. It's at fault, not me. I dropped the razor blade. It fell into the puddle of blood. The pain is taking over my body. The pain of ripping apart my own body is taking over me. I've been telling myself this pain is a punishment for what I've done. But I'm not at fault. It is. So I don't need to accept this pain as a punishment. So I don't need to defile my body anymore. She continued apologizing to me over and over as I stood there covered in fresh blood. She apologized every time I wanted to blame myself, constantly whispering that it wasn't my fault. Oyashiro-sama exists. She is always following me. Pit-pat, pit-pat. And every time I can't endure the guilt, she apologizes and tells me I am not at fault. Everything is caused by the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Things started to go wrong when I broke the rule that I wasn't supposed to leave Hinamizawa. I finally remember. When I moved from Hinamizawa, one of my neighbors gave me a charm. She said that if I left Hinamizawa, I'd be cursed, so I had to take the charm. That's right, she gave me a charm. It had some complicated writing on it, but I haven't seen it since I moved here. I may have lost it. There's nothing I can do about that. If Hinamizawa residents leave Hinamizawa, they'll be cursed. My mother and I, even Uncle Akihito, may have gone insane because of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Nobody was at fault from the beginning, because everything is caused by the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Nobody's at fault. Nobody. Nobody! I'm finally able to forgive everything. The anger that I couldn't get rid of, even after I destroyed everything, including my body and soul, is finally gone. Father, now I know. The curse of Oyashiro-sama is what caused my mother to leave, and for you to be so sad. You remember Oyashiro-sama, don't you? The guardian deity of the Hinamizawa. That's right. People of Hinamizawa aren't supposed to go to the outside world. That's why Mother went insane. It's all because of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. If we had stayed in Hinamizawa, we would have been happy. Oyashiro-sama came to me and told me that. Come to think of it, Oyashiro-sama has been trying to tell me that for a long time. After Mother left, I don't know why she left, or how to express my anger. Oyashiro-sama has been following me ever since then to let me know that. She followed me everywhere, the sound of her footsteps echoing behind me. But I pretended I didn't notice her. I was so stupid. I didn't hear her voice until I slashed my body all over. If only I'd listened to Oyashiro-sama's voice. I bet she started warning me once Uncle Tito came into my life. If the whole family had gone back to Hinamizawa, my mother wouldn't have had an affair. We would have been happy there. I bet Oyashiro-sama has been trying to tell me that. That's right. She must have been trying to warn me ever since we left Hinamizawa. She was always with me. She's followed me everywhere. I was stupid, trying to pretend I didn't notice. Everything was because of that stupidity. If I had noticed Oyashiro-sama's voice, my family wouldn't have had to suffer from the curse. It's all my fault! Oyashiro-sama is apologizing, but she keeps apologizing, which means this is all her fault! This isn't my fault, is it? Because this is the curse of Oyashiro-sama, right? She's apologizing, saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry! Oyashiro-sama is apologizing repeatedly! So I'm sorry too. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry! I'm sorry that I didn't hear your voice. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry! Everybody's sorry right now, aren't they? Except me. I'm not sorry. We are from Hinamizawa, so we have to keep hearing your voice. Oyashiro-sama definitely exists. Exists! Can't you hear, Father? Don't you see? Oyashiro-sama's right there apologizing, saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry! I'm sorry too. Come on, Father, let's apologize too. Mother, You don't have to apologize. You should die because of the curse. I hate you, Mother. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate myself for being your daughter. These maggots are your fault. They make me itch everywhere. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I don't want that medicine. My mother got it to kill me, so I don't want it. I won't take it. I told you I won't take it. Stop. Stop. This is a curse, so you can't fix it with medicine. It won't get rid of the maggots, because this is a curse. No, I don't want a shot either. Stop. Stop. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. Everything is falling into a gray world. The voices of my father and the doctor sound so far away. Even what just happened seems like it happened a long time ago. Again, I'm given the capsule, and even my memory from a minute ago is gone. I'm back in my bed, staring at the ceiling. And what I can see, the only thing that interests me is the hands on the clock. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I follow the minute hand as it goes around quickly, and the hour hand as it goes around slowly. I see other things, too. But they keep going through the same motions, just like the hands on the clock. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's my fault. I'm sorry. Oyashiro-sama keeps apologizing. Tick-tock. Tick-tock. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Repeating over and over, constantly, and nothing else. The chorus of Higurashi coming in through the window during the night seems louder than usual. I guess we could use a little depression to go along with today's episode. Why not? Everybody needs depression once in a while. Except not really, but whatever. Poor Reina, though. So, I think I know which one I'm going to do next. Oh wait, it's right down there. A red capsule is required. Reina Ryugu.
ごめんください。
はいはいはい。あれどちら様？
あ、どうも。私、お隣に引っ越してきました。リュウグウと申します。引っ越しのご挨拶にお伺いしました。どうかよろしくお願いします。
あららら。こんな田舎の村にこんな若い子が引っ越してきちゃったのかい。そうかいそうかい、よく来たね。お母ちゃん、お隣さん、引っ越しのご挨拶来られたわよ。
でっけえ声出さんでも聞こえてんな。つったらわざわざ丁寧に挨拶すまなっしゃろな。
竜宮さんだってお隣の空き家に引っ越されてきたって。
ああ、あんたレナちゃんかいな。大きゅなって。
Don't put the I in Reina.
はい、レイナです。覚えててくれてたんですか？
なんねお母ちゃん知ってんのかい。
知ってるもなんと。ああ、お前沖宮に住んどったから知らんか。ずいぶん前に住んでたお隣さんね。そうかいそうかい、戻ってきたんかい。やっぱり都会よか村の方が落ち着くんねえな。
住んでたのは小さい頃なんで あまりよくは覚えていないんですけど、でもここが私の帰ってくるところだったんだなってとても懐かしくなります。
なら馴染むのは早いね。なんかお手伝いできることがあったらいつでも言ってね。遠慮はしないのがここのルールだから。
はい、ありがとうございます。
I thought I'd remember things if I walked around the village, but I still don't remember much. I do recall, however, the vivid breeze, as well as the brilliant greenery. I don't remember the village, but I remember that this is my hometown. Red scars still remain on my body. They're hardly visible, and I can't even feel them. I'm sure they'll disappear soon. Now that I'm back in Hinamizawa, sometimes I wonder who I was back in Ibaraki. In fact, I think I wasn't myself from the moment I left. And now, by coming back here, I finally regained my true self. I can hardly remember what I was like back in Ibaraki. Well, that's probably because of the red medicine. The medicine erased all my painful memories. Maybe that was for the best. I just wanted to be forgiven back then. I couldn't forgive my mother. I couldn't forgive Uncle Akihito. And more than anybody, I couldn't forgive myself. I wanted someone to acknowledge that I wasn't at fault. I wanted to be forgiven. So Oyashiro-sama apologized. She told me I wasn't at fault, because it was the curse of Oyashiro-sama. That's how I was able to forgive myself. I didn't have to die by tearing my blood vessels out of my body. I think people have to die because they become corrupted. That's why people try their hardest not to dirty themselves all their lives. But I'm still living, despite how dirty I am. I've been allowed to live. Is there still some filth left on me? Or am I all clean? I don't know. The only thing I know is that the me who lived in Ibaraki and the me who's here right now are two different people. I no longer feel the need to take responsibility by ripping myself apart because of the filth. After arranging some furniture and unpacking some boxes, we finally had dinner. Although I hardly remember Hinamizawa, my father remembers things very clearly.
お父さんたちがひなみ沢に住んでた頃にもあったんだけど、今は綿流しという行事がとても大きなお祭りになってるらしい。6月の終わり頃にあるらしいね。
綿流し？
お父さんも見たことないんでわからないんだけど、体についた汚れを綿に吸い取らせて沢に流す行事らしい。
Absorb the filth.
汚れって流してしまえるものなんだね。
そりゃそうだ。人間は罪深い生き物だからね。生きてるだけで日々汚れが我が身に降り積もっていくものなんだそうだ。それを年に1回体をお掃除するように綿に吸い取ってもらって捨ててしまおうということらしいよ。
People become burdened with filth and sin by doing something bad. Court sentences can settle your crimes legally, but that doesn't mean the burden of sin, of the filth, will just go away. In other words, human hands can't erase human filth in this human world. The filth is something humans can't get rid of, and that's why we need a god from a different world to do that. Basically, we need mommy or daddy to give us a bath. That's what I thought. But I'm surprised to learn about Watanagashi. Human hands erasing human filth in the human world. letting the cotton absorb the filth and drifting it down the stream. That means it's okay to live in this world. I tried to commit suicide because I couldn't forgive myself. Oyashiro-sama apologized to me, told me to come back to Hinamizawa. And now, here in Hinamizawa, there's this Watanagashi, a ceremony to get rid of filth. This isn't just a coincidence. Hinamizawa is a place to wash away your filth. It forgives sins. It is a place of forgiveness.
そういうのをな、みそぎって言うんだ。
言葉だけは聞いたことあるかな。
日本文化というものは、汚れというものにものすごく厳格だろ。汚れを残したまま表舞台にとどまることを許さない。ほら、政治家や社長で汚職があるとすぐに辞職するのもそういうことだ。汚れた人は表舞台を去らなければならない。悪く言うと、汚れを誰か一人に押し付けて隕石させるわけだな。
Sins and filth must be removed. That's why people push them onto someone else, and then try to get rid of the filth by sacrificing that person. So, in other words, Japanese politics is rife with scapegoats. Well, I mean, I would argue that's kind of the case with politics the world over in general, but details. But if that's the case, every time that filth is created, people will try to pass around responsibility for it. Actually, on second thought, that's just human nature in general. That's awfully hideous. It's almost like seeing demons in the human world. That's why they come up with the idea of letting the cotton absorb all the filth. By doing so, people can live without making someone else take on all the responsibility, sins, and filth. Putting everyone's sins onto someone, and then killing that person, makes that person a sacrifice. Who wants to be a sacrifice? That's why they desperately push their sins around. A purification ceremony is about replacing the human sacrifice with a non-human one. The purification ceremony dramatically changed Japanese culture. Before then, people always believed someone had to become a sacrifice. In other words, even with filth, everyone can live without blaming someone else. Filth can be forgiven by a method other than death. Only an existence higher than humans can forgive them. I was forgiven by Oyashiro-sama and came back to this place, to Watanagashi, the purification ceremony that exists here, letting cotton absorb the filth and drifting it away. There's no need for a sacrifice. That's why I've been allowed to live. The filthy me has drifted away, so that the me that remains is no longer Reina Ryugu. If I'm not Reina, then who am I? If I'm without filth, without all the icky things, who am I? A name vaguely appeared in my head. My new name that only removes one of the letters from Reina, but I think it's a cute name. All the icky things are erased and forgiven with the removal of that one letter. So my name is no longer Reina. My name is... Really though, psychologically speaking, I can't really disagree with her reasoning. Hinamizawa honestly really is the best place for her, given all her trauma. And her rather depressing mindset on things. It's Just a shame then that Takano has to keep coming along and fucking everything up for her and everybody else. All just so she can impress Granddad. I think we can do this one. New Wind. Yep.
それじゃあ俺はそろそろおいとましますわ。どうもごちそうさまでした。
ねえねえ。また来たってな。
ただいま。
Hello, Mion.
あれ、ひろしおじさん。お久しぶりです。
おお、ミヨンちゃん。今帰りかい。おじさんは今から送迎だよ。
送迎？ああ、不動産屋さんのお仕事？
The Sonozaki family is one of the largest landowners here in the Hinamizawa area. However, since all the land is out here in the countryside, it just ends up sitting there. Recently, the land owned by the Sonozaki family was put on sale in lots. At the family meeting, some of our relatives opposed the idea by saying we shouldn't sell off land that was handed down from our ancestors. But Granny snapped and shut them right up. Some of the unused fields were made into vacant lots and released for public sale. Actually, I had some questions about it too. The Sonozaki family is very wealthy. We have plenty of land as well as money. So why did we have to sell it off? What's more surprising to me is that Granny was the one who came up with the idea. I would have thought she'd get furious if someone even mentioned something like that.
じゃあね、駅前に寄った時はぜひ遊びにおいでよ。麦茶くらいごちそうするから。
はい、ありがとうございます。お仕事はどんな感じですか？
都会な人が案外興味を持ってくれたからびっくりだわ。便利な都会に住みながら、わざわざこんな田舎に別荘が持ちたい小金持ちばっかりだね。
やれやれ、物好きなことで。
一見別荘じゃなくて引っ越しで検討されてるお宅があったね。
Keiichi's family, I assume?
アトリエが持ちたいとか言ってたから画家さんとかかね。
Yep.
へえ、そりゃすごいや。
おっといけねえわ。じゃあおじさんはバスに戻るわ。
Supposedly, he planned a tour to show them the lots, and he's the one driving the bus. It should be about time for the tour and explanations to end. He left in a hurry.
ねえ、聞いていい？
No.
よそ者嫌いのバッチャがさ、どうしてわざわざ分譲地なんかにしたの？
あたしゃよそ者なんか嫌いだし、都会者も大嫌いだ。
But I'll be damned if I'm going to just stand by and not have these newcomers introduce themselves to me. I'm not sure that even made grammatical sense. Point is, I find funny how she doesn't like newcomers, and yet she still gets upset here when Keiichi and his family doesn't bother to properly introduce themselves. I get its manners and all, but still.
だが、村にゃ必要ないよ。
Ah, so necessary evil.
空気の入れ替えみたいなもんさな。
外の人が来ることで何か村にいい影響があるっていうこと？
こかい村だね。今忙しい世の中だから、昔だったら10年20年住んでても何にも変わらん変化のない静かな村だったんよ。
まあそれが田舎ってもんだしね。この村じゃ昨日と今日と明日に何の違いもない。あたしゃ退屈だけどね。
でも友達ができたろ。外から竜宮のレナちゃんが引っ越してきて友達になってくれたんだろうが、近い年の友達ができて嬉しい言うとったがな。
うん、予期せぬ友達が突然できるのは楽しいね。
レナちゃんが来んとな。ミオン学校が退屈だ言うとったんね。
Well, she's certainly quite good at livening up anything that she's a part of.
よう覚えとる。
それが外から引っ越してくることによる効果だって言いたいわけ？
どんな寒い冬場にかて、たまには換気をせんとな。寒くてしんどいな承知で、窓をガラリと開けることもあるんよ。
外から人を迎えることが村の換気になる。
ああ、なるん。そしてきれいな空気を入れて、あたしらみたいな悪い空気やとっとと追い出されるべきなんよ。
If I bring up the Hojo family, I know Granny will explode, so I won't. But I think what Granny is trying to say includes things like their ongoing isolation. Even now, when she remembers about what happened at that explanatory meeting, she gets really upset. But I guess even she feels that needs to come to an end. But of course, she can't just say she'll forgive them. Not when she's at this stubborn age. She can't lose face by openly saying they need to be forgiven. Honestly, I think she's behaving like a little schoolgirl who actually likes a person but treats them rudely when they're around. Tsundere. Maybe people really do go back to being children when they get old enough. I'm not just talking about Granny. The same could be said of all the old people in the village. I don't know. I'm not sure that's the most apt description I could give for old people. No, maybe I should say the evil. Maybe I should say the evil around here. That must be what she meant by bad air. There's no use circulating the air in a closed room. Unless you open the windows and let fresh air in, the air in the room will be purified.
実際に引っ越してくる人があるかはわからないけど、その人にそこまでを期待しちゃうのは気の毒じゃない？
レナちゃんが一人転校してきてもミオンは変わるね。誰が引っ越してきてもきっと村は変わる。願わくばそれが元気な若者で、わしら年寄り連中が安心して村を任せられるくらい大暴れしてくれよると嬉しいんだが、それこそ年寄り連中がもうやっとれんね、あの世に退散するわいうくらいにな。
何それ？死んだおじいちゃんの話？
あほんたれ、誰がじいさまの話をしたんよ。
Poor Gramps. Nobody's thinking about you.
ほれ、お手伝いさん言って縁側のお茶を片付けさせてくれな。
Tea set on the veranda. I can use that for another fragment.
へいへい。了解了解。
ミオン。
ん？
北条聡が消えた日、お前あたしに詰め寄ったろが。
ああ、そんなこともしたね。
あたしゃな、あれで目が覚めたんよ。北条家がどうのこうのいう問題は年寄り連中が死ねば時間が解決してくれるなんてんじゃあかんね。そんなの待たずはよ解決せんとなあかん。
Shame you couldn't do that until some loudmouth came around and helped make it happen for you.
でも自分にはそれができないから、よそ者にそれを託す。
それがあたしにできる精一杯だね。
どんな悪い手札だって次のドローでいい札が入れば流れが変わるきっかけになることもある。それに期待して山から札を引くのもありかもしれない。
新しい風はミオ、お前らの世代になる。そしてお前は内からの風となって混じり合いながら村のよどみを吹き飛ばしてくれ。
他力本願の極みだね。自分が火種を作ったくせに孫にその尻拭いをさせるとは。
I guess that's certainly one way of putting it.
そういいなや。新しい風を新しい園崎家の当主として。
それが次期当主の仕事だってんなら
頼むわミオン。あたしゃ置いたね。もう憎まれ役しかできん。
Ushi! The wind chimes sounded quietly. Maybe that's a sign to let us know a cool breeze is on the way. Keiichi's presence is so much bigger than life that you can tell he's coming just from a breeze in the air. He is just that legendary, or rather soon to be legendary. Speaking of which, I think it's about time that we finally bring you to the table, Keiichi. Okay, I guess I didn't have what I needed there. That was unfortunate. So I guess we need his father to actually see his father inspecting the vacant lot first, rather than just hearing that his father is looking for land from some other person. Okay, yeah, alright. Well, that was a sad little fail on my part. Let's see if we can check out the formation of the club instead. The school is the children's world. The values of grown-ups don't apply. Children decide their own values and create their own world. So the rules of the grown-up world, of the village, don't mean anything here. Even when the villagers badmouth the Hojo family and try to isolate them, that has no meaning at our school. In the children's world, children decide the rules. Rules they think are irrational don't exist here. That's why, as a representative for the children here, I vow that I will never let any irrational rules come into our world. Within the school, no harassment is allowed towards the Hojo siblings. In the very beginning, some boys teased Satoko, but they were punished severely, and it hasn't happened ever since. What'd you do? Have him dress up in cat ears and try to propose to the principal? That's the least I can do to resist the madness of the village. So I hope Satoshi and Satoko both feel that the school is a safe place for them. Satoshi must notice my concern, because he often smiles when he's here. However, I never see Satoko smile. Satoko's classmates used to try to cheer her up, but soon after, they decided that it was best to just leave her alone. I used to try to talk to her, but when I realized something, I stopped doing that. I'm a member of the Sonozaki family. To Satoko, I'm one of her enemies, so I'm sure she feels uncomfortable to have me around her. All I can do is watch over her. That's why Satoko is alone in the classroom. That said, Rica-chan is always hanging around with her, even though Satoko told her she was annoying. Poor Rica. Satoshi, too, is always beside her. These two are the only ones who remain by her side. It isn't limited to Satoko, of course. The malicious isolation is still continuing towards the Hojo family. Because their hysterical aunt is so hostile towards her neighbors, there's nobody who sympathizes with her. It's wise to know there are fights worth picking, and also fights better set aside. If the aunt had even a little tolerance or self-control, this isolation wouldn't have continued. Of course, the villagers were the ones who forced them into that role, even though they weren't related to the issue. But if she had stayed quiet, then it wouldn't have gone so far. The aunt's hostility is one thing, but she's dragging everyone in the family into it as well. The uncle and the aunt haven't been getting along, and he hardly comes home. Both Satoshi and Satoko are forced to live in shame. The aunt vents her stress by harassing Satoko. This was the same too. The aunt is her guardian after all, but Satoko doesn't even try to hide her disgust, so things aren't going smoothly between them. If she had behaved like Satoshi, then she wouldn't have been made into a target. So does that mean the sad life Satoko is living right now is something she caused herself? Yes and no. No, it doesn't. But no matter how much I sympathize and how much I want to help her, nobody knows what to do. An apology won't change the situation. The flow can't be reversed. The fact that the Hojo family is ostracized by the entire village can't be changed. That's the horribleness lurking underneath our lives. The neighbors, the village, and the community. Once they become your enemies, the world can become so cruel. Japanese people have known that since ancient times, which is why we cultivated empathy and an obligation to show courtesy to one's neighbors. No matter who I blame, Satoko won't smile. So the only thing I can do is to watch over her and make sure that she's safe when she's at school.
ありがとう、ミオ。え？ごめん、何？貞子にいつも気を使ってくれてありがとうって。
Satoshi kind of appears absent-minded, but sometimes he says things as if he can read your thoughts. I tried to deny it since it's out of character for me, but he smiled as if he could tell exactly what I was thinking.
貞子は笑顔の浮かべ方を忘れてしまっただけなんだよ。学校にいるときは本当に少しだけ肩の力を抜ける時間を得られてる。それはきっと貞子にとってとても優しい時間になってるって思ってるよ。
おじさんが気を使えるのはせいぜいこの程度だしね。
そんなことないよ。僕も感謝してるよ。
よしてよ。感謝されることなんかないって。迷惑かけてるのは多分うちなんですさ。
そんなこと思って全然。
Well, you will eventually, unfortunately. I'm not good at reading people's subtle cues, but I know for sure what he just said is a lie. Satoshi knows that he and his family are being isolated because of the Sonozakis, and he's, of course, aware that I'm a member of the Sonozaki family too. Satoshi is mature, and it's the only reason he doesn't take it out on me. If he had the same temper as his aunt, he would hate me bitterly. knowing that the least I can do is not get close to them. But I'm a meddlesome person. When I see Satoko looking depressed or Satoshi forcing himself to smile, I have to do something. That might be even more troublesome to Satoshi and Satoko, though.
私、さとこの気持ちを全然理解してないのかな。
どうして？
さとこが辛い思いをしてる一番の原因は、そこの娘の私がさとこの周りをうろちょろすることは、その空気の読めてないことなのかなって。
そんなことはないよ。ミオンはそれぐらいがちょうどいいと思うけどな。
何よそれ。私は無神経な方がぴったりだって言うの？
そういう意味じゃないよ。その空気というのが貞子から笑顔を奪っているのなら、そんな空気なんか全然気にしない人じゃなきゃ貞子に笑顔は戻せないって思ってるから。
うまいこと言ってるけど、さりげなくおじさんのことバカにしてるでしょ。ひどいな。
バカにしてなんかいないよ。助けてほしいだけなんだよ。僕一人の力じゃ貞子に笑顔は戻せない。ミオンみたいな力強い人の助けがいるんだよ。
でも私園崎家のミオンだよ。私なんかが無神経なことやったらかえって貞子を傷つけるかも。
その空気が貞子を一人ぼっちにしているのに、だからミオンも貞子を一人ぼっちにするのかい？
This is the first time Satoshi has asked me for something so aggressively. Satoko is a very important person to him. He's saying he needs my help to make her smile again. But still, no. Maybe he's right. What's going on between the Sonozaki family and the Hojo family is an issue among the grown-ups. We children don't need to care about that. The irrational rules of the grown-ups don't mean anything in our world. So I have to object to the irrationality of the grown-up world, using methods of my own. I just had another thought. Maybe one of the main reasons that Mion and the others kept everything relating to all the drama in the village from Keiichi after he first moved in is because, well, they're just more focused on just creating a world within their school, within their club activities, that is set apart from the irrationality of the grown-up world, as so eloquently put here. So when Keiichi ends up coming across things that end up shattering or piercing that world, well, Mion and the others are pretty much caught as much by surprise by it as Keiichi is. So, yeah. So in a sense, it's probably just more so just them, not so much them just trying to deliberately keep any information from him, even for benevolent reasons, but perhaps just because they're just focused on just living life within their grown-up free world to the best of their ability, if that makes any sense.
聡子は本当に私のこと迷惑に思わないかな。
初めは少しは思うかもしれない。でも僕も一緒だから、ミオンと一緒だから、すぐに打ち解けるよ。
そうかな。今日学校が終わったら聡子を遊びに誘ってみる？
家に帰るとおばさんにいろいろ言われて表に出られなくなってしまうかもしれない。
なら簡単だね。家に帰らずに遊べばいいんだ。
でも帰りがあまりにも遅くなると何の道草を食っていたんだと。
ならさ、あれだ部活動に加わったっていうのはどう？
部活？
うん。 部活ってことにして学校で遊んでから帰ればいいじゃん。だって学校から帰らないでそのまま遊んでる男の子だって大勢いるんだしね。全然問題ないよ。
あ、でも服を汚すとまたおばさんに。
ふふん、ならさ、アウトドアじゃなくてインドア中心にすればいいわけよ。それなら服も汚れないしね。
インドアってことは教室？でもあんまり暴れると千恵先生に。
Stick a bowl of curry in her face and she'll shut up promptly.
インドアで暴れずに、だけれども熱く遊ぶことは可能なんだよ。
Define wild, Mion.
おじさん、こう見えてもゲームが大好きでね。海外ものの貴重なものとか結構集めてたりするのさ。
Oh, I know, you nerd.
マニュアルが英語だったり難しかったりで対戦してくれる相手がいなくて死蔵しちゃってるのが多いんだけどね。
それ聡子にも遊べるかな？
もちろんルールなんてね、分かんなかったらその場で作っちゃえばいいんだよ。全員が同じルールに従う以上、どんなルールだったって公平なんだからね。
I said it so confidently. But would bringing games from home and asking Satoko to play with us actually make her smile again? What have I got to lose? Maybe I'll bring one of the board games tomorrow.
あとさ、ミオン、相談があるんだけど。
何？おじさんで乗れる相談なら何でも聞いてよ。
僕、アルバイトを探してるんだ。
Oh, well, now I know where I can use this in some of the fragments.
聡子を元気づけるのに、誕生日に素敵なプレゼントをしたら喜ぶかなって思って。
I want to look over everything real quick. It looks like we are getting close to filling out the first five pages of these fragments. So I'm assuming that before I move on to the last 2 pages, I should try to fill out everything in here first. And then once I do, I'll have everything I need to start trying to connect the pieces with these 2 remaining pages right here, to basically help get the gaming board set up completely. So, yeah, I'm gonna end things here, and we can continue our fragment connecting game in the next episode. But yeah, I think for me, the most interesting thing I've learned today is how exactly the Curse of Oyashiro-sama truly got started, and why. It really does. I know I've said this before, at least a few times by now here, but some of what I've learned today has really done a lot to change my perspective on previous events from the previous chapters. But even so, I'm pretty but despite the fact here that I have been proven wrong on a few things, I'm not upset about it in any way, because I ultimately just want to understand what's really going on. So if I'm wrong on a few things along the way, then well, I'm fine with it, as long as, well, the truth of the matter isn't just, well, at least what I would define anyway, as straight up bullshit, or flat out inconsistent with information that I've seen before. AKA bad writing. But I don't see any bad writing going here. I don't see any inconsistencies that are jumping out to me at present, so yeah. And I suppose, you know, depending on how you want to look at it, there could just maybe raising a few questions towards the end here is not necessarily a bad thing. After all, there are some stories that are meant to have unanswered questions, because, well, pretty much the whole selling point behind some of the stories is the lingering questions, the mysteries that it leaves you. So it keeps you thinking about them long after you finish the last page. Anyway, I'm rambling, so I'm going to go ahead and shut up here before I continue going on when I said I'm going to go ahead and end things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Higurashi when you crack high Chapter 8. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.